Welcome, Internet, to the PixelPlay Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast where we get together to talk about all things video games. I am one of your co-hosts, Kaylan, aka Catastrophe, joined always by my co-hosts in the blue shirt, Adam at CS Radical, and in the other blue shirt, Chris at Jin and Chris. This week we're going to be talking about whether or not Sony has a IP crisis or shortage of them. So we're going to go through all of the video games that they've built and see how many are still viable, and if Sony needs to be making more IP. If you like that, you want to see more, we post podcasts every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you get your podcasts, or on YouTube and Spotify. If you want to see all this lovely face, do the podcast. And we also have a social network. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at linktr.ee/PixelPlay Podcast. Join the Discord, join the TikToks, join the Instagrams, all that stuff. You can find us there. So we would love to have you on part of the show and chat and give your thoughts and opinions. We've got a great group, but we just need one more, and that one person is you.
I mean, more than one would be nice, but you specifically,
no.
that they'll be okay.
Yeah, you specifically. Like you. Everyone else we can ignore, but it's you. You, if you've not joined Discord yet.
And you know who you are.
And you think we're talking to someone else. No, we're talking to you. Just you.
Well, wait, are we talking to you, or are we talking to, like, guy whose Japanese name is actually you? Is this like a Rush Hour joke that we're doing now? I'm confused.
You know what? Just to play it safe, just make sure you go in and join the Discord. So, guys, how's it going? How's your week been? What's new with you guys?
I still have construction going on in my house, so I'm in my wife's office, which is the least gamer room in the house.
This is what happens.
I thought I was going to say, like, no, Chris, you have overhauled that basement so fast over the last week.
It's a green screen.
Like, you've built walls and everything.
Screen. I get up.
What happened to the bar?
Knocked down the green screen. I replaced the bar with this painting. I don't know how, but I did. It's very tropical.
Guys, you guys won't believe it. This week was crazy. I was child free this weekend. I got so much gaming done. Didn't beat anything.
I was convinced
that is the most Kaylan thing I have ever heard.
I was expecting something else, and you delivered exactly as you should have, and that was perfect.
That would be like Chris saying, "Guys, I had so much extra money this week. Just add it to the backlog."
Gotta be consistent, right? Gotta be consistent.
Oh, that would be consistent.
Honestly, I've been playing Star Wars like crazy, and I've gotten nowhere. I've done nothing. It's great.
Now that I think about it, it does make sense you didn't finish anything, because you basically am taking on a 5,000-hour experience, because that's what Ubisoft games are.
This game was advertised as only being 30 hours, and I don't know how.
I think the main mission is 12 hours total. You're just
is it really?
Yeah. If you were to just beeline it.
We need to settle this. All right, howlongtobeat.com. Let's see what the difference is between the three things. Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah, again, this is what a Ubisoft game is. So, main story. Just main story. Average time, 17 and a half hours. Okay, makes sense. Main plus extra. That doesn't mean everything. That just means main and people that have played like a little bit here and there. Average finish time, 29 and a half hours. Okay, there's your 30 hours. Completionist. I'll let you guys guess.
80.
I'll say 50.
It's 53 hours.
So I was like, I gotta go full Ubisoft.
The disparity between the two, like between main and main plus extra, is about 12 hours. Between main and extra and completionist is 23 hours. That is an open world Ubisoft game if I ever heard one.
Those completionists are probably using guides to just speedrun, and I'm like, nope, I'm just living my outlaw fantasy. I'm Han Solo in space. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, you're right. We need to have a fourth category, which is Kaylan, and it's just
Kaylan.
There's like Golden Path extras, completionist, and just fucking around. And I'm in that spot, like escape reality.
The Kaylan path doesn't even have a number. It's just when it's done.
You know how on that website there's the part where it's like currently playing, completed, or it's in the backlog? That's my contribution to that website. Just it's in the backlog. Everything you look up, that's where it is.
Guys, well, there is a whole other stat. There is what's the number in Chris's backlog? The answer is games.
Games.
Yeah,
All
no,
good.
it's been good. Like I'm loving it. Like I've had a bit of bugs and crashes and stuff like that now. The Ubisoft like varnish is starting to come off a little bit, but like it's a fantastic Star Wars game. It's a stealthy Star Wars game, and like it's interesting because like I'm not shooting my way through everything in that sort of sense. Like it's not like as a third person shoot like cover shooter. Like I'm stealthing through and sneaking through things and stuff, and like I'm loving it and escaping into that world. I've now made it onto the third of 4 planets and starting those side quests. But I'm like, I want to make sure all the factions like me. I have some like apparently deep seated like childhood trauma where I need to be liked by every faction. And I'm like, 1, doesn't matter to the story. 2, these are criminal organizations, but somehow I need to be validated and have their acceptance.
That's called gamers and are just absolute introverted personalities.
The Pikes are mad at me and I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I don't like it and I want them to like me.
Oh, best smuggler ever.
Well, look, I'm glad somebody on the show is enjoying that game, considering that I probably won't even touch it this year or maybe at all, depending on how things go. But
I don't know if it's your game, but Chris, this is your game.
Oh, I'm gonna pick it up. I'm 100% gonna.
Well, we know Kaylan's gonna like it because he's a Star Wars sucker, and we know Chris will like it because he just likes everything and has no actual opinions. So
Chris
I have
really
opinions. Everything is great. Everything.
Chris
Everything
is
is
the golden retriever
also.
of this podcast.
I am. That is exactly why. Oh, squirrel. Anyways. Adam,
What
what,
about you guys? What
playing?
have you guys been up to? Oh, and I also did play Astrobot. Didn't finish that either.
that's okay.
I'm kind of pacing myself on that one because that's one I can play with the kid. So I'm like, I felt bad when I was playing it there by myself, and I'm like blowing through it because like it was. I played with him, and it is asinine playing Astrobot with a 5-year-old. He's like looking at the ground while like spinning in circles, and I'm like, no, stop. That's not how you do. No. But like he's 5, so like the expectations are low. But
that's not true.
Yeah.
At 5 years old, he should be able to like do like 360 no scopes already. Given how kids are these days, like come on now. He's falling behind Kaylan.
and there goes his professional, gaming career.
Yeah.
No esports career for him. So, well, I'm not playing Astrobot either for the same reason that like you're not playing as much because you're playing it with like around specific people. I said last week I'm playing it with my significant other. I haven't had a chance to play it since then.
The most sensual game of all time.
Yeah,
Astrobot.
right. But that also is a testament to like how fun and good a game it actually is. That it's like something that's like, okay, look, like even to somebody who doesn't really play games at all is having a blast just watching it. So that really is, it's like a good telltale sign. That is a girlfriend reviews game of the year if I ever saw one. But instead, I have filled the void with a different platformer. One that I didn't realize until just before the show because I didn't even think to look up the developer. But this is actually a pretty good tenured studio that Nintendo has been using for quite some time. And the game I'm playing
We
is
all
called
know Rare.
What's that?
Nothing.
It's not Rare.
No, that's a Microsoft property now.
Now it is.
Yeah, but so anyway, I'm playing a game called Bakaru, which is made by the guys who did I think they did the port of Kirby's Epic Yarn, and they did Yoshi's Crafted World or whatever the
Crafted World.
Yeah, and they did that. They are working on the Princess Peach game that's coming out, I think either this year or next year as well for Switch. So like they've got some good tenure, but like this is a game that I have been shockingly impressed with, just because like, when you see a platformer of this quality that you just immediately think, oh, it's like Mario or like Mario at this point. Well, I guess now Astrobot kind of falls into that equation, but like this is a game that, I knew I would sell this to Chris immediately by saying this, but it was basically if Legend of the Mystical Ninja from the N64 decided to have like a baby with Super Mario Odyssey and then have like a little bit of like Taiko Drum Master influence into it. And it is a tremendous game. I'm maybe 2/3 the way through it, and it's somewhere going to be around like 10 to 15 hours to deal with. And I cannot get enough of this game. Like it is everything that I loved about, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Galaxy, like all those games. And currently what I like about Astrobot as it goes as well. The incentive to get your collectibles is very easy because the collectibles in this game are like because it's very much a Japanese culture game and how it's visually produced. For those watching on the YouTube video, you can see for sure where it is. But like the collectibles are even like that too, where they're either pennants from the different prefectures because all the levels are based off of actual either villages, towns, or cities in Japan. There's trivia little bits that they'll give, some of them that are actually based on what's going on in Japan. Some of them are just like random facts about anything else. But like every little collectible is relatively easy to find. You may like miss one or two, which is not, that difficult to go back and find if you're just a little bit more observant on each part of the level. But like there's an instant incentive to do it because you want to see like what random object it's going to be, if it's going to be like a bowl of ramen this time, or if it's going to be like some other snacks or some weird like little statue, or what's the next random trivia fact that's going to be like, wait, what? That's a thing? Because there's been a couple of those that I've gotten and be like, I didn't know that. I don't think I ever would have known that had it not been for this. Thank you for telling me. Just some of these really weird factoids like that you would find scrolling Reddit randomly, and that's what you come across. But as an actual game, it's like pretty much as fluent as you would expect from a modern day like Mario platformer. It's very well in how it has different sets of moves. You have, because I'm playing with controller. It is a PC version that I'm playing, but I still play on controller because it just makes sense with platformers. I can't imagine playing this with mouse and keyboard. But the L1 and R1s are your taiko sticks, and they do have different combos. If you hold one stick down versus the other, or sorry, not one stick, one button down versus the other, it does a different move. So you got a few different special moves you can do. You also have on the bottom right hand of the screen, you can see this glowing like fan meter that also lets you shapeshift because your character is a tanuki. So they also have the shapeshifting ability that tanukis in mythology have been told to have. And that give you a couple different power-ups. One of them is, more power-based and for short-range combat. Another one's great for long-range. So, like, they're all little pluses. There's also another one that makes you really tiny, which is good for either traversing. I imagine speedrunners are going to love that because it actually lets you glide almost like Princess Peach and Mario 2 style. It also lets you get into, like, certain, like, little areas that only that form can enter, which is usually where a lot of collectibles will be, or like hidden pathways. So there's a lot of little things that are nice about it. And it also will switch up the gameplay once in a blue moon. Like it's not just platformer. Sometimes it has some race sections in there. Sometimes they'll have like a one-on-one like robot like mecha battle in there. So they do a nice job of like splitting things up. But like I would say a good like 90% of the game is going to be this platformer set. And each map generally will have its own little quirks. It has little things that, again, don't make it too like copy and paste over time, similar to what a Mario game would. I would argue that this game might be a little longer than it needs to be, because I'm at the point now that I'm like, I feel like I should be done, and I know I'm like about a third of the game left. I'm not like hating any of my time with it, but I'm at that point now where it's like, okay, this feels like you're extending it a little bit. I'm not complaining, but this is getting to a point where it's like, okay, in the same way when you're enjoying an open world game and you're like, all right, this doesn't probably need to be here. I still like it, but we could have gone without this sort of deal. But like, as it stands right now, it might not be in my top 3 at the end of this year, but it's currently hovering around my top 5. I fucking adore this game. Like, if I put this next to Astrobot right now, I don't know which one I pick. That's how much I like this game. Like, both of them are fantastic for different reasons. Astrobot is just fluid and, like, super cute and super nostalgic. This one is just, like, it's got that Japanese anime sort of flair that really also adds it to me.
I was going to make a joke about this one, and this one is for weebs, and then you...
I wouldn't even say
and you're like, no, it's totally the benefit for
weebs. But, like, it has that little, like... over the topness that kind of makes it a little more fun, whereas like Astrobot's more cute, this one's more wacky. So they kind of like differentiate off each other pretty well, in fact. So if like I'll probably say this when I review it too, but like this is a 6 out of 6 for sure, unless like something really bad happens towards the end. And I don't know how. It's a platformer. It's not like there's gonna be a story element that's gonna break this. So
imagine.
Chris,
it does look sick.
Oh yeah, what have you been playing?
So I love how you both are like, oh, I touched a bit of Astrobot, but I'm playing it with my son or my significant other. I platinumed to Astrobot. I'm done. It went
Color me shocked.
I did everything. It only took about 16 hours, but last week when we were talking about Astrobot and like it's easy and finding the collectibles are easy and it's just a nice relaxing game, the main levels will hold that true the whole way. The challenge levels that, the side levels that kind of appear in some of the galaxies, they start to kick your ass and they do not hold back. Oh my God.
It's like how there's a couple Mario Odyssey levels where you're just like, fuck that moon in particular.
Yeah, if anybody's played, because Sackboy Adventures or whatever that game was, had a couple of those levels where it's just like a straight shot. You got to do it in one go. If you die, you start again. Astrobot has 17.
Wow.
So once you get to the second galaxy, you'll go and all of a sudden, there's little asteroids and stuff, and they open little side levels where it's like, oh, retro rampage, and you fight some enemies, and then at the end you get a character. Well, all of a sudden you'll go, and in the second galaxy you unlock, I think it's triangle. Like you find the triangle, the PlayStation triangle, and it splits into 4, and there's 4 triangle challenge levels, and it's just that, like a different theme, like the whole stage is bouncy, and you have to like use bouncy your way all the way to the end where there is a character, but if you die you start back at the beginning, and it's like actually kind of difficult. The first 4, the triangle ones, aren't too bad. I had to try them a few times, but it's like there's 4 triangle levels, and there's 4 square ones, and there's 4 circle ones, and then there's 4 cross, as Sony calls them, but X is what normal people call it. They're fun, but they are challenging. And then, just like Sackboy and other Sony games, they add a final one that you can do once you beat the game. So no spoilers on any of the gameplay or anything like that. Just there are challenge levels, and the final one, I watched my friend do it for a while, friend of the show, Rajiv, and he struggled for a couple days trying to beat it. I was lucky because I had watched him try so much. I finally went on my own playthrough and got there, and I was able to do it in 5 tries, which shocked the heck out of me. But it's because I basically was practicing while watching him in my head. There was another level that actually did me in, where it took me over 2 hours to beat the one level that is honestly like 2.5 minutes of just straight platforming through stuff. Difficult as all heck, but like fair in a weird way. Like every time you die, it's not because something unfair happened. It is because it is precision and you were not precise. So do it again. It made a man out of me. Like I felt so achieved in the end of that. So very fun platinum. The cool thing with all of those levels, you always get a character at the end, and it's like obviously a PlayStation one. It's not just like the normal bot. It's like, is
that Master Chief?
No, one of the yeah. Is that Master Chief? It's one of the PlayStation mascots and stuff, and it's like worth it to do it and everything. But dang, like it gets harder. But yeah, I platinum the game. It is so far my game of the year. Like I can't say ifs, ands, or buts about that. Like there's nothing else that so far is competing. Just because it's reinvigorated my love of gaming. Because I've been gaming, but I've been not like as like into it. It's been more like just my side hobby, where when I was playing Astrobot, like I was like, oh, I have the day off and it's a weekend. It's 9 a.m. Okay, I'm going to go game. Like normally I wouldn't do that. It would be something I wouldn't do until 10 p.m. or something when I have a bit of time. It just took over because of how good it was. So it didn't just reinvigorate gaming for me in general. It actually reinvigorated my Sony love too. I was going to buy Star Wars Outlaws right after this and play it. But after seeing all the different Sony bots and the nostalgia and everything like that in this game, I was like, there's a bunch of Sony games I've never actually played because I didn't have a PS4. I skipped that generation. But when I got the PS5, it came with that PS Plus collection or whatever of like 20 games most. So I played a bunch of them. I played God of War. I played like the big ones. But I never played.
Did you not play the original God of War for PS4?
Not when it came out. I didn't until 2020 when the PS5 came out. Yeah. So I had played that one, but like Infamous Second Son, hadn't played it. The Last Guardian, like all the kind of the more side ones that aren't as popular. So I actually installed Infamous Second Son, and I'm like,
that game looks incredible.
It is fun. So good. It is a lot of fun. At first I was like, oh, it's an open world, like fuck, this can take forever. It is a much smaller map than I was expecting because I'm on like the 3rd mission and I've already unlocked half of everything. Like I got my 2nd mission. There's like the Seattle, the Space Needle. Yeah, after that, I just 100%ed the top map that I could do. I would have done the bottom half, but there's like a mission that unlocks the bottom half. So the whole top map, I've just liberated it. Every collectible, everything.
Have you gotten any of the other powers yet?
Yes. I guess I can not worry about spoilers.
I mean, it's like a 15-year-old game. You probably safe.
I just beat the neon girl. Nice. What the heck was her name?
Fetch?
Fate? Fetch.
Yeah. And also, speaking of her, also play Infamous First Light. It's a very short Infamous game that's just on her story. I love that. It's a nice little.
It was good.
Bit.
It was good. It wasn't my favorite. I like the main game better than hers.
Is
they
it
had like those like
DLC?
trial things in there, and I hated those.
Oh, I don't like trials. Yeah, I Astrobot I like, but other game trials, I'm not a huge fan. But I just beat her and unlocked her power, but it's like the next mission where I have to go unlock more of her power. That's where I actually stopped because it was time to podcast. And I had to set up in this room. But yeah, like I'm like back being a Sony fanboy, but also that owns an Xbox and a Steam and loves everything about everything.
So you're gonna
else,
buy a PS5 Pro, right?
No, God, no. These all run great.
I tried, Sony. I tried.
Yeah, you tried. I can't. I still can't fathom. Like everything I want to play on there with the performance mode, I'm good. That's fine. And Sony first party, which is what I'm into right now, and it's the main reason I have a PS5. They're always going to have the performance mode. Like I'm not worried about them. It's like a Mario game on Nintendo. It's gonna run great. It's the other third party ones you usually got to worry about. But yeah,
I'm trying to think what other games come on that collection that you should play, because Infamous is a good one.
So Detroit Become Human, I'm going to play that one. I'm going to do The Last Guardian just because I have to. Mm-hmm. What else was on there?
I know Final Fantasy was on there. Fallout was out on there.
Yeah,
Batman,
I know.
Arkham,
I played all of those back on like PC and stuff. Or Final Fantasy I'd already played. Yeah, actually on PC. Yeah, it was only the Sony first party ones because like Infamous, Last Guardian, stuff like
Days Gone is on there, is it not?
Days Gone is on there, so I could play that.
But I
don't have a huge interest in that one.
Days Gone isn't bad. Like Days Gone is a good game that just is way too long. It's got some like cringy dialogue and like, but like from a game mechanic, it's cool being like a biker in a post-apocalyptic zombie adventure. But it's just too long.
See what other. I mean, yeah, I could go through this list, but I feel like this list is going to be massive on my screen, and I'm just.
I mean, that seems like a great segue.
That depends who you ask, because some would argue that there's not enough IP in Sony's catalog, which brings us to this week's topic.
You don't say.
I know. You'd almost think that we rehearse and practice these episodes, which we don't.
Wait, we do?
We did not.
No. You just don't show up for rehearsal. So about 2 weeks ago, speaking with the Financial Times, the Sony CFO, and I'm going to butcher the name. If I do, I'm so sorry. Hiroki Totoki kind of came out and said that he thinks that there's not enough IP in Sony's catalog. He says, whether it's for games, films, or anime, we don't have that much IP that we fostered from the beginning. We're lacking the early phase of IP, and that's an issue for us. So I bring to you guys this week a question. Does Sony have a lack of IP, or are they just not using what they have? And so what I've done is I've gone through and I've made a full list of Sony IP that they own that are like Sony exclusive IP. We can go through, see which ones are being dormant and could be revived, which ones maybe just don't resonate anymore with modern gaming, and kind of answer the question: is Sony lacking IP, and should they be making some more? So
I mean, the short answer is no, but we can definitely turn this into a 30-minute conversation.
We'll see, because like I initially was on the same page, and now I'm not sure. So let's stick around and find out. So I'm gonna go through, and how we're gonna do it is I'll list the IP, and you tell me whether you think this game has like resonates in 2024 and has potential, or if this should be remain dormant. So reactivate, dormant, IP. You tell me what you think. So first one is Medieval. This is one of Sony's oldest and least touched games. Does Medieval have cachet? Does it have potential in 2024? Or should this one remain dormant?
To me, I would say it should probably remain dormant. The only way I could see it becoming relevant again is if they updated it a fair bit. Like making it a very child-friendly Dark Souls or something. You know what I mean? Like the cuteness and all that kind of stuff, but with like a little bit of difficulty to make it like a Dark Souls-y type of game. Even with the difficulty, but not with just the original aesthetic and everything like that. Like they'd have to like obviously kind of update it, kind of like what they did with Ratchet and Clank. Like Ratchet and Clank looked great, but the new one is just so beautiful and there's like crazy stuff going on. Like I kind of feel like they would need to do something like that with it to bring a new aesthetic to the vibe, but you know, maybe have that be again a Dark Souls type of game. If they're going to leave it as it is, like just don't bring it back.
That's going to be the ultimate factor in a lot of these is like, I don't think many of them should be dormant, but there's a few factors to think about. It's one, there's only so many studios under Sony's banner that can make these games, so it's not always going to work out that way. And then two, Sony currently is not adopting this idea of doing smaller budget games, which is going to make a lot of these possible, because let's be real, no one's going to spend like 9 digits for a medieval game. Which unfortunately is what 90% of AAA games seem to want to do now, is just spend $100 million on everything.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think of the platformers that Sony has, I think Medieval is probably the least appealing one. It doesn't do anything super interesting. Because, like, I don't even think, like, the main character talks in this game. So, like, I don't know how much you could do with a Medieval game. So, I agree. In that same vein, I also agree, Parappa the Rapper. Cool game at the time, but I don't see a button pressing rhythm game being something that's going to attract a huge audience in 2024.
I mean, again, like Medieval or Parappa, it's like, look, if you can find a small indie studio, because again, this is something that like Sony could do to be like, hey, we're going to give you guys this license. We want you to do something. We're going to give you X amount of dollars, and we're going to take, they probably take a bigger cut than they normally would with like somebody they're doing from third party. It's like, hey, we're doing this because we're asking you to, and we're giving you an opportunity here. You could fish out to an indie studio to do Medieval, Parappa the Rapper, and a lot of these other games. Like, do I think there's?
I mean, they could, but like, is that what? Like, is that what they want to do?
Well, but what are we asking? Are we asking if I want them to, or should they? Which is two different things.
I think it's like
is it feasible business wise? 90% of these won't be. Let's be real. So like. It's more of a matter of like
would this be a success in whatever capacity? Like, we're not saying it's going to be a success at a $100 million game or $200 million game. Like, it doesn't have to be Spider-Man 2 levels of budget and size and scope. But is there a way that this game could be successful and popular in 2024? And I don't think Parappa the Rapper in any capacity.
No, Medieval, I think if you gave it to someone to make a similar sort of like game like a Hollow Knight, I think you definitely could hit some vibes if the pricing was right. And if you're not over budgeting, which is going to be a big factor in a lot of these. If they don't budget these, terribly, these will probably do well.
See, I have an actual different idea with Parappa as just a normal button pressing rhythm
GTA
game. Okay, yes. I changed my answer.
Lean hard on the gangster rapper kind of thing.
I think that this
Parappa the Rapper should be the new Simpsons hit and run. Done.
I think that this would have been a great PSVR game. Like, if Sony needed some IPs for its PSVR 2 and had wanted that to succeed, some sort of a rhythm game, but obviously in VR. Not like Beat Saber or anything. Yeah, like something, it could be, or like you have in front of you the button prompts for the different music, and it's going in front of you, but you're also on the stage with all the onions.
It's Parappa the Rapper, but you're the DJ, so like the hand motions.
Yeah, like something where they just took the concept of the rhythm music game. You're Parappa, all the characters are there, there's an onion guy, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's some sort of VR game. Like, I think that would have been helpful. Like, it wouldn't have probably been like a $90 or $80 Canadian game, but I mean, if it had been a VR game that Sony put out, so they had more than just like one, like, I think this would have been a nice addition where it would have sold decently, only because it's VR and obviously titles are limited and music rhythm games are kind of something people can go towards. I think it would have had a shot there as being a bit of a success, but that's the only place I can think that it could have gone.
Because I look at this and Parappa the Rapper, like, I don't know, like, it's cool, but like, I don't know if it, like, people are craving for it. Like, if I was going for a rhythm game, I'll bring up the next one that, like, another one that's in here is like, if I'm going for a rhythm game, the one I'd like to do is do Patapon and have Patapon do.
I was gonna say, because I knew it was gonna come up. I would definitely put more resources into doing that again.
Like, of the two rhythm games,
I forgot about that one.
More interesting. So I do Parappa the Rapper. Or sorry, Patapon over thing. And I like your idea.
You could definitely have a good 1999 indie darling for Sony right there.
Yeah, like I think it's cool. Have like a little drum set in front of you and you do two things and you just bang the drums that you want to do. Like, because that's the thing. You're like if I remember correctly, you're like the war drummer for the Patapon group. Like, you control the beat that then does their attack.
Yeah,
So now you could do that with like a drum set in front of you, which I think would be cool.
that would be cool.
So we just jumped ahead to Patapon. Next one, Jack and Daxter. I don't know why we've not gotten another Jack and Daxter. Like, I don't want.
I can tell you why.
Why?
Because they have to make 70 other Last of Us remakes before they can get to it.
Well, this is the thing. I'm not saying Naughty Dog has to do it, but I'm just like,
well, the argument would be is they have to because it's theirs. So the fact that there were like essentially they have two much bigger franchises these days, and Uncharted and Last of Us is probably the main reason for it. Sure, they could pass it off to somebody else. Like, sure, just pass it off to Team Asobi, and it's probably fine. But like,
I figured
that could be the solution for a lot of problems.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I think like we move beyond. Like, it doesn't have to be made by the same developer. Like, it's all in the Sony IP. Everyone's putting their IPs in the fishbowl.
It should be back. Like, but if we were saying in the context, the main reason that it won't is because Naughty Dog has literally got 70 other projects they probably want to do before it.
But I just feel like Jack and Daxter, like it's basically a lot like Ratchet and Clank, and we've gotten so many Ratchet and Clanks that I'm surprised. Like we haven't put it that they do Ratchet like they do. A Jack and Daxter as well. Now, of the three big franchise mascots, I would say that like this is the one that I'm least excited for.
Yes,
but
I would even go further with it and like make a new direction for it. Jack and Daxter, if you want to have a bunch of your platformers, you got Ratchet, which is the tech like crazy one where you got like all the funky like portals and shit. Mm-hmm. Astrobot is your cute one. Sly Cooper, which we'll get to at some point, is your stealth one. Jack and Daxter should be not like full on M rated, but it should be like the Deadpool of their lineup, where it's way more adult, like a lot more adult humor, way more jokes, way more comedic value, like way more like slapstick humor, like a lot more like feeling like a Saturday morning cartoon sort of deal. Like that, you could definitely do something with Jack and Daxter that would make it stand out from the others. That would just make it work so well.
Yeah, I think you could do a Jack and Daxter in like a Deadpool-esque, like kind of like referential fourth wall breaking.
Like Daxter
experience.
Literally would be a great thing to just kind of turn to the camera and be like, yeah, remember that one time in Uncharted, and just like start like just doing fourth wall breaks too. Like you could definitely do some fun shit with that.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I think, and if you got the like just the effort that's put into Ratchet and Clank, like put into that too, like I can also see it being very visually stunning and visually pleasing to play, right? Like, yeah, so like I'd be happy
in the like enemy types that they would have in those games. Like they could definitely do really well with a graphics overhaul now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I think this is an easy one. Correct me if I'm wrong. Ape Escape. I feel like there's just nothing you could do with Ape Escape. Like,
I think Astrobot's proven that actually could be workable again. But I think like if there was ever a game for Fire Sprite to make a VR game of, that seems like a fun one.
I feel like if you're doing Ape Escape, like you'd have to make it like give it to an indie studio and get them to make it for $20. Like it needs to be, Like I don't see it taking off and blowing up. Like I don't see it being something that becomes a major Sony IP. Like it's Ape Escape.
I don't think it's a major game. I honestly think it's a game that you put on the PSVR to keep that library open, because VR you need to keep that thing alive because it's only going to get better and better as time goes on, and like that's a pretty easy one that people will be like, well, that's like it's a Sony license or something good with that, and it's got a nice gimmick that you could use with it.
Do you think like all dozen of the PSVR owners would buy it and play it though?
I'm not concerned about that.
I'm gonna put a pin in this. I don't even at this point like I love this podcast and I love just having Chris on it because my whole goal is just to make Chris laugh in this whole podcast. I love it.
Well, that's.
I'm gonna keep like a little tally of how many times I make him laugh. I just go for my high scores.
I don't care at all how many people will actually buy this thing or not. The idea is to keep your VR system going so that when it eventually gets better and better and cheaper, that we now have the framework for it. I do not care if it's a viable option business-wise. I want it to be a consistent option so that when it's perfected, it's going to be amazing when I'm too old to actually be able to use it.
Yeah. I would say Ape Escape, it's either VR game. And again, not like an $80 VR game, like just some sort of cheaper.
No, it's like a $30, $40 like VR experience.
Exactly. Yeah, that, or like Kaylan, actually, you said the indie approach. Like this could not be its own standalone, just normal game. Yeah, like it would have to be something VR indie. I'm sure VR, again, I wish Sony put more effort into their VR, so I'd probably put my effort there because, again, Sony, you made a VR headset. Why not make games for it? And I think that would be, fun pretending you have a net running around and stuff. But yeah, that's the only places this game could be in 2024.
Next one up is Siphon Filter. Now, I have some ideas on this one, so I'm going to let you guys talk about it first.
Well, I mean, Bend isn't going to be working on the Days Gone 2, so if there's anything that they should be working on right now.
Yeah, I could see this in 2024. Again, probably like I'm going to say for most of these games, like it needs an overhaul in graphics and writing. And
like it's not like, hey, we're just taking the game and just re-releasing it from 20.
Look, Ben,
whatever.
Just make the Splinter Cell game Kaylan's been asking for. He'll be so happy.
Yeah, basically.
But like, there is a really good opening right now for a story-based stealth game. Because like
that's what I'm thinking.
With Metal Gear essentially on the shelf in terms of new games, as far as we know, like we don't know if there's ever going to be a new one again. Mm-hmm. So like this is your chance to kind of corner. Yeah, this is your chance to kind of pop in and be like, "Sorry, Ubisoft, there's a new king in town," and Ubisoft would be like, "Wait, what? What's this about?" Like Splinter Cell. That sounds familiar.
That's right. Yeah, I think that they could 100%. Yeah,
I think Siphon Filter would work really well. Like, it fits in that third-person action adventure sort of wheelhouse that Sony's just known for. So I agree.
Yeah,
and again, like to make a really good, like a good spy thriller story would be like, honestly, I don't even know if I could say that we've had like a true one in a long time because I don't even consider Metal Gear Solid to be a spy thriller. Like it's way more wacky in that aspect.
Spy thriller. Metal Gear is just nonsense. Yeah. Nonsense Saturday morning cartoon G.I. Joe.
Yeah. So like really like you'd have to go back to I don't even know when the last like real decent Splinter Cell game is. Kaylan, you'd have to be the expert on that. Because like the last thing that I can come off the top of my head is Blacklist. Not even know if that's the newest one.
Blacklist was not a good one. I'd say the last good one is either Chaos Theory or Double Agent. And I'd say I'd probably say Double Agent.
And I'm pretty sure those are like what, PS3, Xbox 360 era?
I think it was like Xbox era.
Actually,
the last one was like PS3. Blacklist was PS3.
Oh yeah, shit. We're talking PS2. Okay, yeah. So there's a real opening for a really good one of these because I'm not certain that Perfect Dark's going to be that either the way that it's looking, and there's still supposed to be a Bond game that we just never know if it's coming out or not. So.
Oh right, yeah.
Quick one we could probably fire off unless anyone disagrees. Loco Roco.
Nah. Well, like unless you're putting it on there as like a $10 like little random one.
Once
like,
again,
it's,
like
it's
we
not
can say
necessary.
like any game can become a good game, but like does it have the potential to become a franchise? And I don't think Loco Roco does.
If the answer is franchise, absolutely fucking not. If it's like a nice like little like aside $10 to $15 game that you throw on the indie wave when you're in that like section of a PlayStation like state of play, sure.
Yeah, I think it would be a good. I think it could be like $10 game. Sony does ever make a new handheld. I think again, perfect cheap game to go on there.
I mean, just release it on PC. Idea. It's on Steam Deck. There you go. Problem solved.
Honestly, or if they just released it on PC, I think it would do fine there too. I really do think it.
Like it's just a cozy game. Like it would work for people.
Yeah, and it's like very gyro centric. So if they did like indie game showing off the PS5 controller and it's
that is true. It could work well as like a small like cheap game that you could put with a PS5 or the DualSense, I should say.
Yeah, like something like that. Yeah.
You guys are disrespecting the Portal too. That Sony has their own handheld. They don't need the Steam Deck.
Yeah, but they're not making it specifically for the Portal.
Fair.
But then again, if you played on the TV, the controller does have gyro, so you could still play it. I
mean,
think honestly, like a $10 game or a free game, I can see that.
SOCOM. Does SOCOM have life in 2024?
Why the hell haven't they made one?
Yeah, like I feel like this kind of falls into the Siphon Filter. Not the exact same, like not spy thriller, but maybe more military story.
PlayStation needs a shooter. Honestly.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, SOCOM was a third-person game.
Yes, it was.
Yep,
I think so.
Yeah, like I think of it like very much like a Ghost Recon Wildlands kind of thing. You and 4 buddies squad up and go do missions in, wherever SOCOM takes place. Like it's such a easy idea that like I think you could do it.
I know,
especially if you're live service games.
I know it would piss people off that are like real old school with these games. They should turn to a first-person like story game. Do something fun with it.
I feel like
know
that
which
gets
one.
too close to Call of Duty in that sense. You start
That's
going
the
up against
point.
Call of
It's
Duty.
Sony's.
Mm.
That's the point.
I have some other franchises
Because let's be honest, like the third-person
probably would
tactical
move up.
genre is starting to get a little bit old, and the problem that I also have with them now is that a lot of these developers are trying to make them too realistic, and it's kind of taking away from the fun aspect of it. Like Chris, like we played a little bit of Ghost Recon. It's like fine for a spell, but like it's not that great for the long haul.
Wildlands?
These games, like yeah,
Oh, I loved Wildlands. I thought Wildlands was great.
it gets old real quick. It's just okay, we're gonna take another couple guys out, and then we'll go into the next place. Like it doesn't really do anything that makes it that interesting, apart from when you just get into real shit and you have like 100 guys and 3 helicopters. Then it's fun.
Yeah.
But if you're playing the game right, you shouldn't be doing that.
I
See,
think
like. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Are you, no, okay.
okay.
Like I know it'd be kind of weird because we already kind of have it, but I think even with SOCOM, maybe not necessarily as like an open world Wildlands game, but more like a Helldivers kind of idea. Like you choose missions, you get dropped out of a helicopter, and then 4 of you go pull off the mission. The helicopter picks you up in the end, and boom, you leave Extraction. Like a little bit Helldivers like, not with bugs and like in space and all that shit, but more like military operations or something. I think that would be kind of fun. And a little more contained. And again, probably only like a $50 game, I assume, just because of Helldivers. But I think that it could kind of reach that crowd. It'd almost be like slightly live service without being too live service and that kind of stuff. I don't know.
I mean, I'm just admittedly at the point that after playing Ready or Not recently, that I'm like, man, like a good co-op first-person tactical shooter is something that would be real good with it. And having like, considering that like Ready or Not was more of like a SWAT aspect, SOCOM is more of a Navy SEALs thing. You could have some real cool mission like setups that are like 20-30 minute missions where it's you trying to like fish out some hostages in like a militarized zone or something like that. You could do some real cool shit with that and put
I think
like
the fact that
some
we're
good
all coming up
intensity
with
levels up.
I think the fact we're all coming up with different ideas for SOCOM means that SOCOM is definitely a viable IP that Sony is not
100%
working on.
Well, it's like in the
Because-
basis that I said, like they need like shooters are still relatively big. The fact that they don't really have like one that's just because people say, well, Uncharted, Last of Us, they're adventure games. Like they don't really have like a true shooter because we'll probably get onto other games like Killzone and Resistance aren't out either. It's like, there's a hole that they should be filling. Because if you're Sony, on your console, you should want to have at least something of every genre going in there. So you're grabbing little bits from every fan base.
100%. And I think if like we all kind of had a slightly different idea, I think if any of those 3 released, it would do well. To be completely honest, I think that all 3 of them would be beneficial.
As
to
long as
Sony's
it stays
lineup.
away from like the ridiculously open maps, because like tactical shooters don't work when the maps are that big because there's just too much dead time.
Yeah.
Okay, moving along. MotorStorm. Is there a place for an arcade racer in Sony's catalog?
I don't know. That's actually a good question because on PC there's a fair bit of them because there's a lot of people who are making them because they like miss that genre. But they're all like $20 games. Like they're not expensive.
So I'm gonna say yes, but I want the people who do Gran Turismo to do something with that because in the same way that Forza is Forza Horizon, Gran Turismo, it just has Gran Turismo. I would like to see a Gran Turismo game go outside of just being, a simulation. I'd love to see them try to do something different with it and do something a little more wacky, a little more over the top where it's more stunt heavy. I'd like to see them try to do something out of their comfort zone and see what happens. So like, I'd like MotorStorm to come back, but more of like a Gran Turismo Horizon sort of setup.
Yeah, I think agreed. Like I think an arcade style racer would do really well. You want to go race up a volcano that's exploding off because of a nuclear bomb. Like, cool, that's MotorStorm for you.
I think they had a great idea in Destruction All Stars, but just not as a live service game. I think because do you guys remember Destruction Derby 64?
No.
So that game
I remember
both.
like
It was
Burnout.
There was the Ring, Destruction Derby, Go, but then there was also the racing version, which was almost kind of like what Burnout turned out to be later, where it was a race, but you could also take out your opponent so that you might be the only one left. So there was also that.
Was
part
also
of it.
Split Second. Split Second did that too.
Yeah. Like you like basically like MotorStorm should exist. I just say like make something akin to like what Burnout is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think if they go that route,
Put it on
or
there.
make it all VR and it's so fast, it's just got a warning where you're probably going to get motion.
Chris just
sick.
wants
Don't
the whole
actually play it.
catalog in VR.
Chris just wants an F-Zero VR game.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Chris, we had someone mention in the Discord, you can follow us linktr.ly/PixelPlay Podcast, who said like, hey, VR sets are going for $250 at the source here in Canada. And I'm not convinced now. I'm not like, I'm questioning now if Chris went out and bought it. Now he's just trying to justify.
Oh, I checked.
I mean, I thought
checked
about
the source
it.
everywhere.
And I thought about it, and then I looked at my bank account and went, I'm not thinking about it anymore.
I looked at the catalog. I'm not doing this for the catalog. There's
I was about to buy it. I would have 100% bought it, but I would have bought the piece for PC, like the connection. I would have probably gone more PC with it because a decent PC VR is very expensive. And that
I was
going
to say for $250 a good PC VR set would be pretty damn good.
Yeah, so that was kind of it. It's like I'll play the couple games on PlayStation and then I'll go hook it up to the PC, and that's where I'll actually end up using it. But it was sold out.
Back on track. Next big one, Resistance. Is there a place for Resistance in Sony's catalog 2024?
Absolutely.
Immediate, yes.
For the same reason for SOCOM, you need shooters, but it's also something that's a little bit different too.
Yeah.
See, I am not missing Resistance that much. Like of Sony's like first person shooters, Resistance is the one I would cut. But
I mean, you could also make a case too that like Resistance, okay, fine, don't do another one, but make a new like first person shooter in that light and just have like something new and do something different with it. Like there is such a big hole for this that like Resistance could fill that void, but if you don't want to use the license, okay, fine, just make a new IP that's similar to what that would have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I think you could also make a case that Resistance does not have the hype around it that other ones would. I
don't think Resistance ever really did have the hype. It was always a very niche like game, and it doesn't resonate. So it's like kind of like a historical World War II with aliens, but they're not aliens. They're like machine. It's. I don't think it resonates with the general populace or It doesn't resonate with people. So they're like of the ones like that would be the first person that I would cut. But I'll put it on there. You guys are both on it.
Just new IP, alien invasion, first person shooter. Let's go.
Okay, so we're not gonna put Resistance then.
You've made a good enough case that I think like if there's any one of them that you can probably not bother with.
Cool. Next one, Wipeout.
No.
Ooh. Oh, I don't know.
Chris, I know exactly what you're gonna say. I would if they put it in VR. They did put it in VR, Chris.
They did, yeah. That would have probably been really fun and slow and calming. No, I to be honest, I don't know if I really see this having a huge.
I
I'm
think
nostalgic
you could already
for
put
it
in the same brain as like MotorStorm, and it's pretty much it's like it's a wackier racing game.
Although there is one thing Sony hasn't really done that Nintendo's been doing, and I could see them using this franchise to do it, which is like Battle Royale, but Nintendo's been doing a lot of different Battle Royales that are actually popular and interesting because they're not just like Fortnite shooting each other.
Yeah, you know
like,
what?
Tetris 99, they've got F-Zero 99 on the Switch, and it's like literally Super Nintendo F-Zero, but there's 98 other people on the track with you, and it's like you keep doing laps until one person wins.
But is this like going back to like we're talking about like IP franchise? Like, is that enough to make a franchise around? We're not looking at just making one game. We're like gonna like, can we make a couple games out of this?
Well, we start with Wipeout 99, and then the sequel Wipeout 100. No, I don't know. I could see them using it once or something to have again a small little free for PlayStation Plus online only game with 99 other people to help people feel enticed to actually be subscribed to PlayStation Plus, because that's what Nintendo's doing with theirs. Like, you don't buy those games, they come with Switch Online. You need it to play online, and it's kind of like, hey, you also get this game, it's free. It's okay you're paying us for online, where to keep everybody happy.
Yeah, I
can see Sony using it for that.
Sure, as a full-on franchise, I would say MotorStorm would be a better one geared for that.
Yeah, that I would definitely give that to it. Yes, I would say MotorStorm would, if they could only pick one. Yeah.
Keeping in the vein of MotorStorm, we've said that MotorStorm's there. What about Twisted Metal? Is there a spot for Twisted Metal and MotorStorm? Do we get rid of MotorStorm? Do we keep?
Yeah,
Twisted
because
Metal?
we're
Do we
talking
keep
vehicle
both?
combat. I think you can make a case for it. Not to mention, I think they should be making another game for it because right now the actual live action show is becoming very popular on people's minds. Which, by the way, is shooting locally out where we are. So that's interesting.
Is it really?
Yep.
Where?
Out towards the lake in
Hamilton area
between
of
Hamilton and
Ontario.
Burlington.
Interesting. Hamilton would be where they filmed Twisted Metal.
Look, it's a lot of steel mills. That's post-apocalyptic. If you ever saw it.
I'm kidding. I lived in Hamilton for a while. Like I love that place, but it's just low.
Hamilton's fine except for that stretch where it just smells like absolute garbage. So yeah, the steel
Stretch.
mills.
Yeah, the steel mills.
This episode not sponsored by Stelco.
But yeah, straight up right now, they should be making, and I think it honestly could be a good franchise because I think, again, online, like massive multiplayer online games are always going to be good. Like people want to play those because they're fun and there's competitive nature of people. I think in the same vein, the Destruction All-Stars was actually a good idea. It just really didn't hit the right things. I think that Twisted Metal, like if you do it right and you actually make it really engaging, fun combat, I think you could really do some cool shit with it.
Yeah,
I think you do
agree.
Twisted Metal as a local multiplayer game, four player split screen kind of retro. Like,
I
obviously you
know
can do it
what
online
you're
if you want to.
saying, but like local multiplayer is pretty much dead.
On PlayStation, yeah, I'd say. Like
Well, even
Nintendo's
just
the
in
only
general,
one that
like, unless you
sometimes
live in a
has it.
college dorm, it's not really a thing anymore. I hate to say it, but like I can't remember the last time that isn't like at Chris's house that I've actually played local multiplayer.
It's true, fair enough.
Yeah.
But like, so my thought is like, if we keep MotorStorm, like, is there a spot for both Twisted Metal and MotorStorm, or can you combine them?
Absolutely.
Like, could you make Twisted Metal into a racing game with destructible environments and rockets? Like, it basically becomes Mario Kart.
Yeah, I say MotorStorm goes like the Mario Kart way, and then Twisted Metal goes, maybe that's the Twisted Metal 99, where it's like a big freaking insane
Well, because like MotorStorm, like I said, could fill more of the burnout range, whereas like Twisted Metal is more about the combat than anything else. You could definitely make those two work together.
Yeah, I think one focus more on racing, one on combat. I agree. Because I think
again,
Destruction All-Stars...
We're keeping in mind that budgets aren't going to be fucking massive on these either.
Yes.
Once again, we're assuming that like Sony can succeed in, like, we're not like, there's a bunch of things that go wrong. We're assuming that like, if this game was successful, like, could you build a franchise around this IP? Right?
Yeah.
We're not looking at just one-off games, but like ones that can be a long-term strategy.
Yeah.
If we're going under the assumption that they're actually being smart business people with how they're doing setting all this up, I 100% think you can do both of these as a franchise again.
I do too.
Yeah. Next one, Sly Cooper.
Oh,
Does anyone
100%.
think that Sly Cooper should not be an IP?
No. If you are listening to this and you don't like Sly Cooper, hang up, get out, go away.
Sly
Subscribe before
Cooper
you do.
should be flat out their flagship platformer and should be getting so much media attention because it is a child gold mine. You put that, like, there should be shows and like that should be Sonic the Hedgehog right now for them.
How do we not get a Sly Cooper movie? Like, Ratchet and Clank got a movie before Sly Cooper.
Yeah, I don't get that, because it's just heists and stuff, right? Like, and the characters are all very cartoony and cute.
Can you imagine the guys that do Spider-Verse with that fucking property, with that animation style?
Lord Miller?
Oh
Yeah.
my fucking god!
Yeah. So I love Sly Cooper. I miss it the most.
I don't get it, because like, even when like the Thievius Raccoon, like the fourth one came out, like when they announced that, people lost their goddamn minds about that game. And like,
well, it's so different. It's a stealth platformer, and the visual style is unlike most games out there. Like it stands out so well.
Yeah, 100%. Makes sense.
If there is one, if there is one that we can pick out of all of them, I don't think there's any other one that comes to mind.
Right?
This is my number one franchise. I don't even need to hear the rest of the list. This is my number one to be. Please.
All right, so
back,
Legend of Dragoon,
please.
Chris, have fun with that.
No.
Next one I have up here is Killzone. Now,
bring it.
Between
go
that
ahead.
and Resistance, I would put Killzone way above that on the list. So
I agree with
I would
this.
say absolutely. Oh, I thought Kaylan was really thinking there for a second.
That's why I
He
did
froze
one
again.
of these. I was like, oh,
I'm here.
am I frozen?
I'm here.
Who's frozen?
No, I did freeze. So, long story short, I didn't I didn't catch what you're saying, Chris. Like, are you on board with this or no?
Adam said Killzone
Adam.
over Resistance, and I said I agree with him.
Yeah, like if there's a first-person shooter franchise I want back, it's Killzone.
See, I love Killzone. Like, I am a big sci-fi guy. Like, I love that like the Helghast are just some of, I'd say probably one of the coolest characters in gaming. Like, they are so cool looking. That being said, I don't know if I want this to be a first-person game. I think I want Killzone to go third person. Now, here's my way that you could do it, because you could do a whole bunch of cool different things with that. You could do a like Gears of War style, like cover-based shooter. You could do a tactical-based shooter if you want to do third person. Hell, you could even do like a stealth Killzone game, like sneaking in and infiltrating things. Like, I feel like the first-person aspect of Killzone kind of holds it back. And I think you can tell cooler stories with a character if you have it in third person. And just, like you could do so much more cool stuff. Like, I'd almost want to do like Ready at Dawn's like Order 1886 level of gameplay in Killzone's world, where it's like cool weapons, you're taking cover, you're like shooting over things, blowing up like buildings, stuff. Like, make it look like a gruesome like war aspect thing, and having it in that 3D space, like in the third person space, I think allows you to do cooler visuals and like more cover based and feel more like you're in the war versus in traditional Killzone.
Well, here's the beauty of
either way,
having
I
a
think
franchise.
Killzone IP needs.
You can do both.
Sorry?
That's what I was just thinking. Exactly.
So, Killzone has potential.
Yeah,
I mean, look, Warhammer has no problem making 50 different games, so.
I was literally thinking about Warhammer, and then I was thinking Gears, because even Gears has like its more normal game, but then there's Gears Tactics, which is a tactical game more. Like, you could have Killzone Tactics, a Killzone first person, a Killzone cover shooter, kind of like Gears. Like, you could, as a franchise, this would be very easy to do. Because like so many different things with
a first-person shooter, which is more based on like the war aspect of it. You could have a third-person game where it's more of like a stealth game, where it's like you trying to infiltrate the Helghast sort of deal.
Yep. Even if you did like a thing where you're like playing like someone where you're like a ISA soldier like trapped behind enemy lines, and you have to get through like the Helghast by like sneaking through and like stealing the weapons and like doing all that. I don't know. Do a Killzone Commando. Like, it's awesome.
Killzone, the Great Escape. Let's go.
There you go. Next is Infamous.
I mean, as I'm playing it right now, I'm really enjoying this one. I think the only thing I have with it is, even when I'm playing it, it does feel like I'm in a very similar world as Spider-Man, just like with a different guy with different powers. But I do think that it still does have its, like, I think they could do more and just like separate them out. Like, don't do one every 2 years or something. Like, it would definitely get overwhelmed. But again, just having kind of like that open world, but smaller open world, like the kind of the size this one is. Don't make it bigger. Don't like do anything like that. Like, it gets too big, it gets overwhelming. I still think they could do it, and I think they could kind of, something that Spider-Man can't do is like change up its setting. Spider-Man's always going to be in New York. This game, like Infamous Second Son or whatever it's called, in Seattle. Like, you could go around the world and each game is a different city or something with a new conduit that's like there, and dealing with that. So they could always switch it up and everything, which would be kind of nice. I do think that this franchise does still have life in it, especially since it's been like 10 years since the last one.
I'm less inclined, only because I think that it's already being done better by what Insomniac is doing with Spider-Man and potentially with Wolverine. My only thing is, if you want to make Infamous good again, stop focusing on one. Make it the X-Men. In the sense of, it's you and a bunch of, like, a resistance trying to fight off, trying to be exiled. Like, they really need to go harder on that, because they do it, but like, it's the you against the world thing. No. There needs to be more people for you to get into, because like, I played through Infamous Second Son. There's not a lot of people to attach to. It's really just the main character and like maybe a couple more. I'd want to have the more of an opportunity to feel like you're part of, like, I guess again with X-Men, like, it's more of a team. Like, there's more of like a set of people that you want to fight alongside, and like maybe even switching up characters or something like that. But like, in all honesty, I'm just gonna fight for it. Sony, make more turn-based RPGs. Like an Infamous superhero sort of like RPG sounds like a really fucking neat idea.
That's the beauty of a franchise. You can do both.
I'm in agreement. Like I know you guys are talking about like doing like Spider-Man and Wolverine, but like I as someone who's fatigued with Marvel, like I am tired of it. I'm tired of like and like I find that I'm like I don't care anymore about Marvel and all this stuff. I don't care what Tony Stark and Iron Man are doing. Like I'm done. I don't care. Like I like Spider-Man because I grew up with Spider-Man. Spider-Man has a place in my heart, but like I don't care about the Wolverine game. Like I don't. And so for me to have like
see
like,
that part is strange to me because it's not related to like the burnout of the MCU. Like this is its own like separate stuff where I think the stories are being told better.
I mean they are, but like at the same time, like I've already seen it. Like even with Venom, it was like I've seen the Venom story. I know the Venom story. Like I don't care. Like I'm playing Spider-Man 2 and I'm like, okay, like oh wow, what a surprise. The bell makes Venom like angry and upset and like lose connection. What a twist. Like we know this stuff now. And I think Infamous benefits from the fact that we don't know anything about like Infamous. It is a original story. Anything could happen, right? Whereas Spider-Man's not going to die in a Spider-Man game. You know that like if I had said to you, hey, who is Wolverine fighting in the Wolverine game? You could probably come up with a pretty accurate list, right? You know what's going to happen. What kind of moves is Wolverine going to have? It's going to be a lot of hacking and slashing. Like, you know what's coming, right? But with an Infamous game, like, you don't know. Like, you have neon powers. What the hell do neon powers look like, and what do they do? Right?
I guess my only argument to that is then they need to actually start telling some stories that mean something, because you can't just keep making games that just go, oh look, you have powers. By the way, people want to arrest you and put you behind bars because of that. That's all they're doing. They're not doing anything interesting with it now. So it's like, okay, do something different with it. Tell a story that actually seems, like it means something now. Put more of the heartstring stuff in there. Like actually make it matter, because like I like Second Son, but Second Son does not do anything story-wise that is worth telling about.
Agreed.
I do agree with the story part. I think they could do Infamous and like, yeah, really up the ante on the story. Like big, not Spider-Man moments, but that level of like big cinematic moments in the story missions and stuff. Like really hit with that.
Well, it's why I'm leaning into the X-Men themes. It's the themes of racism and things of division. Like, I want them to go real hard on that shit because, well, let's be real, it's going to hit real hard currently in the present day as well, so.
Oh, 100%. And I do like the idea there being, like, a bunch of conduits and, like, switching between them or at least having them in the story. So, like, you'll go on a mission and you're, like, one of 6 people, like, storming. They could even add a multiplayer aspect to that. Like, you could play online that certain missions you actually link up with other people who are playing that mission and you do it as a group.
I think it's like a side game, like a co-op, like Infamous, like sort of, romp would be a fun idea.
Yeah, I was thinking just like Assassin's Creed Unity did it that way, where you could go on some missions and it would ask you want to play this online with other people online, and you do the mission with other assassins. I think that if they did that well, I don't know exactly how they do it, but I think it'd be kind of cool if you went into some big story mission and all of a sudden it's you and 3 other people and you all have different powers and you all kind of like go in together storming a building or something. Like that'd be kind of
cool. Could see Infamous being well done as like an RPG aspect where it's like, hey, how do you react to having these powers, and not make it just like a generic like, oh, do you want to be a dick or not a dick, like make
like straight up get rid of the good or bad stuff. Just make I want a fluid story that just goes and tells what you want to tell. Don't give I don't care about having the freedom of stuff. Like I don't need that stuff anymore. I'm really tired of the Paragon Renegade systems in a lot of games because they really don't mean it. It just basically means be nice to people, be a dick. That's all it really is for a lot of these. And then straight up stop telling the same generic, you got powers, what are you going to do with it? Also, these people are trying to arrest you. Yeah. I want someone who's already got the powers, and I want them to be in the thick of a bunch of you. Like it's not trying to arrest you, it's trying to kill you. Like raise the stakes, make it matter.
Yeah. Next one on there, Little Big Planet. Now I know what you're thinking. We have Astrobot. Why do we need Little Big Planet? And I'd say I'm biased. I have very strong opinions of Little Big Planet. I had wonderful memories playing them with my wife. I'd say there's a spot for Little Big Planet. Get rid of the stupid creativity stuff. Like I don't want to play other people's levels. They're garbage. But I think if you made Sackboy a 2D side-scrolling adventure, great. I think that's the way to do it. Like, have Astrobot be your 3D platformer, have Little Big Planet be your 2D platformer.
Just don't make Dreams 2. We don't need it.
Okay, I will strike Dreams off of our list.
Because
that's like my argument. Like, I'd say like Little Big Planet does well as a 2D side scroller. I don't think it needs to be
you would have to make a real good case for me to say no to a platformer, because they are always going to work well if they're done properly.
Well, especially like because with PlayStation, like it gets the families in, right? It gets the kids in.
Exactly.
Like I can play Astrobot with my kid, and then I can be like, "Oh, now you like that? Like, do you want to play like Little Big Planet?" And suddenly he's playing PlayStation more and more, and he's going to start looking at other games. So like, you can't just be, "Hey, we're aiming for the 14 and up demographic of gamer," and just assume
it's also foolish to think that that's all it is. Like platformers, like again, like what are we all enjoying right now? Astrobot. I'm enjoying Bakaru, which is also a platformer. So it's like, they're timeless if they're done well.
Yeah. And I find, because Sackboy Adventures or whatever came out, it was like they got rid of the Little Big Planet name and just went like with the...
It was a 3D platformer.
Yeah, it's a 3D platformer. They removed all that creativity, build, all the crap. It was more just like interesting. You pull wool and something would happen or whatever in the levels. I loved that. Yeah. My issue is that if I had to choose a 3D platformer of Sackboy versus Astrobot, Astrobot just feels much better and more fun. That could just be the level design and stuff and personal preference.
I mean, in all honesty, you could just have them both doing that and you just have a nice gap. Well, if they're both going to take 3 to 4 years, there's your split where you've got, equal opportunity there.
100%.
In the same way that like Mario and Zelda kind of equal each other out.
True. I think they could still do the 3D platformer Sackboy like still as well, because it is a very enjoyable experience. I did love playing it, but I like what Kaylan said, where he was like, maybe that would be a 2D platformer, because I don't think Sony has any 2D platformers or 2D games at all. So even if it's like, obviously these are franchises, you can have multiple. I cannot see Astrobot being 2D. It's just like the way he moves and everything. It wouldn't be a very quick. They got to be a little faster with the movement and stuff. I could see them with Sackboy though in that world making a very cool 2D game as well. So they could still do the 3D, sure, but I think also some 2D games would be very beneficial for Sony because they don't have it, and also just enjoyable to actually pick up and play that type of game. Astrobot would be the answer to 3D Mario, and Sackboy would be the answer to 2D Mario kind of idea, like. Cool. Right?
Put him on the list. Fat Princess. I don't think Fat Princess has really franchise potential. It's a cool game, cool concept, but it works as a standalone one-off.
Yeah, no. It would not be a franchise.
Fun fact, that's what I used to call my cat, who was very, very large. I used to call her Fat Princess. That's the only thing I remember of that game. I don't actually... That's it.
Fat Princess was a great game. Like, I remember, like, they released a demo of it. And it was like a full game of Fat Princess that you could play with, like, friends online. It was one level. I'm like, that's it. I don't need to buy the whole game. I got one level. If I want to play Fat Princess, I'll play the one
but
level.
Like, it was a fun one-off. I wouldn't even, like, do it again now, like, as a one-off. I would just... It's already had its time.
Okay. Next, Ratchet & Clank.
Oh, keep it.
Obviously.
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I agreed. But let's move the fucking story along. Like, it is the same story for like
the
last...
What are you talking about? We added a girl now.
It's like, hey, let's go find the Lombax. Are there more Lombax? I don't know. Looks like there's Lombax. I don't know. Guess we can't find them. Maybe there's some next game. Hey, are there Lombax? Oh, looks like there's some Lombax.
To be fair, Kaylan, Mario games don't exactly go very much further with story either.
But the thing is, Mario is just, hey, Princess has been stolen again. Go get her. I don't need much story, but like Ratchet & Clank is trying to tell a heartfelt story of like, a Lombax is all by himself, and he's always gets so close. He's like, no, friendship is more important until the next game comes around. Then we need to figure out if there's more Lombax in the universe. It's like, do we want it or not? Like, move it along. I'm getting tired. Like, either make it that he doesn't care and just go on wacky space adventures, or move it along that we're looking for the Lombax. Pick a lane.
I'm sensing some deep-seated trauma in this, Kaylan. I don't know what's going on over there.
Are you the Lombax, Kaylan? Are you the Lombax?
Got abandonment issues. All right, cool. Put it up there. Gravity Rush.
Ugh.
I'm sad that that's gone, but I don't know if you could turn it into a franchise.
Maybe this is a hot take. I'm trying to get through the first game. Maybe it was really great on Vita. Like maybe it was as like a portable game, like really good. but I'm playing it on the PS5 as like the remastered like console edition or whatever. The game is not grabbing me. Like, I think it's just the mechanics of like, oh, now you're floating. Okay, aim. Oh, you missed. Now you got to re-hover and, aim again and try and get this thing. I think that the franchise is really cool. I think the game mechanics do not transfer to like console and just controller play really well.
Yeah,
I think that would
it's a
be
good idea, but it's not something that you would like build a franchise around.
No, I think that they could make the franchise really great, but again, it would have to be more just this is a normal ass like platformer or something else. Like change up the gameplay and stop making it about flicking this girl around all over the place using this gravity stuff.
All right.
I don't know.
Stricken. I think we're gonna start moving fast to these because these are more like current ones. Horizon. Anyone want to cut Horizon as an IP?
Nah, keep.
I mean, it's
Fantastic.
probably. I'm hoping that it just ends on its trilogy thing because I'm already kind of ready to be leaving it soon. So.
See, I'm kind of getting done with Aloy. I am not done with the Horizon world. Like, I would love to just see more like different characters and different stories. I'm just getting tired of Aloy.
Well, my reasoning is that like unless they're gonna just start telling stories that have nothing to do with like the like, because it's at the point that they're now about to have a planet killer coming their way. So like,
yeah,
you can't go much bigger than that now. So like, you're gonna run out of like stakes.
Yeah.
I hope they keep her, but like Lego Horizon and stuff, I hope it kind of goes more that way for a bit too. Because I think that actually looks like a lot of fun, where it makes it a little more goofy and not planet killer. So I'm okay with the franchise and the character, but yeah, like maybe switch it up after the trilogy's done.
We also Dreams is not franchise material, right?
God, no.
Done.
No.
Okay, Until Dawn. Now I know this is like Sony IP, but it's not made by Sony. I'd say yes.
I will say no because I don't think that you can do that enough so many times before it gets old, and it's already proven that because the games that they have made since then by the same studio have not gone nearly as well.
Now here's the thing: I know that the previous ones have not gone well, but here's how I do it. You do it like every couple of years, you release it around Halloween, and it's like a choose your own adventure, and it's always like 80s schlock horror kind of thing. It's like do like a serial killer in like do like a Scream ripoff, do like a Nightmare on Elm Street.
That would be my only exception is if it was actually like a licensed version, like if they actually were able to like get movie licenses and do stuff with that. But I don't even think original content is good enough to keep it going at this point.
Yeah, maybe. I just think like if you did like if you basically allowed people to relive and like play in their own sort of 80s 90s horror movie,
yeah,
I think that's how you get it. You release it around October.
Be really neat if it was like their day of or Dead by Daylight, where it was like, okay, here's where we're gonna pull like horror franchises in from.
Yeah, I'd say there's potential. Adam says no. Chris, you're the deciding factor.
I've never played Until Dawn. It's one of the few that I have very little knowledge of, other than it's like a scary game. But I think that Sony, like we said, they should have kind of a bit of every genre. I don't know if they have any other scary.
I just don't think that this is the right
IP
outlet to do a horror game in.
Okay.
Unless they change it up, and
unless you're changing up, but then again, like the developer is making specifically these types of games, so unless you're completely pulling the license from them, which I doubt they do.
I think that's
the other thing they have that does it is like Quantum. The hell's the developer called? Quantum. The guys who are making like the Star Wars game made Detroit,
Quantic Dream.
Quantic Dreams, thank you.
Yeah, but I think that
else they have.
But yeah, I don't even think they're with Sony fully now.
No, they're not. They're not a first party.
They've never been.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll put it as 0. Bloodborne, is that a franchise?
I mean, I haven't seen anyone online ever say anything about wanting more of it, so I don't think you can.
Really?
I think he was being sarcastic.
So sarcastic.
Okay. Sorry,
yeah.
That went right over my head. I'm so sorry.
Really? Have you been on Reddit before?
Have you been on the internet?
I think they could.
If any of us say no with a straight face, we're going to be shot. So
yeah. I think that Bloodborne definitely has a fan base, even if it wouldn't be a lasting franchise because people would actually get sick of it after a bit. I think bringing out another one, as well as remastering or re-releasing the original, I think it's just kind of. I think that there is a franchise there that people would play it until people get sick of Souls-likes.
Yeah. All right, Uncharted. I'm fully on board with Uncharted.
Oh,
Make more
100%. I miss
yeah.
Uncharted. I'm gonna replay
it's
the
at the
4
point
games
that's
again.
like, all right, cool. Let's get his daughter in the frame. Let's have a different storytelling. Let's do it.
Yeah. Or even, you know what? You don't have to get his daughter. You can always just do like Nathan Drake adventures. Like he's a Pulp Fiction adventurer. Like he could just be like the time like Nathan Drake went to the Amazon, the time that Nathan Drake went to Antarctica.
It's a franchise. You can do both, and the story's perfectly
exactly,
set up to
100%.
have her do one.
100%. Knack.
No.
Yeah, that's gotta get.
We've got enough good platformers that we don't need it.
SingStar.
Yeah.
Not as a franchise, but like as a one-off, it would be fine.
We're looking for IP here. We need something we can milk, Adam. Not
Yeah,
just
we
a
gotta milk
one-off.
it.
That's why I clarified.
Gran Turismo. Good to go.
Good to go. I just wish
but
they'd
just
do
for
some
God's
more
sakes-
things with it.
For God's sakes, do something different with it. Jesus Christ.
But there's
you've made
ray tracing now on the cars.
Oh, I'm so fucking happy for them.
8K support on the PS5 Pro.
But now Malibu Stacy has a new hat. You guys, come on. God of War.
Oh yeah. I think they could bring it back. They obviously it'll be like another. I think
God of
finished
War
off
needs
that
a
story.
nap, but I think like
Oh, yeah.
I think, like yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
give it a nap and then bring it back after. Maybe it's his son more focused and.
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah, that's true. Like story wise, it makes sense, but not everybody plays for Kratos. Like that's why you play. You want to be crazy dad.
Yep. Spider-Man. Yep.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Marvel and the
Astrobot.
Marvel games they're making in general, yeah.
Astrobot.
Yep.
Oh, Astrobot, yeah.
Yep. Days Gone.
No. And I'm not even saying that as a hater. I literally don't think it works.
Yeah, I haven't played it, and I just don't see the hype for that.
They also
genre.
have like many more games that are open world that do it better anyway.
Yeah. Everybody's Golf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
I really think they need to change it up a bit or something.
In fact, stop doing just golf. Let's get
Yeah.
more.
I was gonna say
RPG
if I was gonna
sports
do it, I'd
games.
just do like make it the brand of everybody's. And
Yeah.
it's just like
everybody's basketball,
everybody's golf,
everybody's football,
everybody's
do it.
basketball, everybody's like
Yeah.
disc golf.
Because we
like,
need more fucking arcade sports games. God damn it!
That's why I love it, and that's why I have everybody's golf and have played a whole lot of it. It's just
I played way too much of that game.
yeah,
Like Sony,
It's just
Sony,
enjoyable.
Everybody's basketball. Just make NBA Jam, but it's like a full 5. Like, just fucking do it. It's not hard.
You could make your own character, and you can load them up in each game too. Like
I mean, there's just so many possibilities. Like everybody's baseball, everybody's like basketball, everybody's cockfighting. Like there's just so many sports you could touch. It's great.
everybody's math homework.
Another point for me. Got it. Blood and Truth.
I don't even remember what that is. I can't lie.
That's
to you.
that
It's a
VR
first-person VR game. It was actually really good.
Right. I technically own that.
I would say yes, because you need something to, if you're assuming you're sticking to the VR hardware, that's a great
They're not.
like franchise for VR. Kaylan, shut up. We're having a hyperbolic conversation here.
Hyperbolic.
You know what I meant. Metaphorical, hypothetical. Thank you.
Hyperspace.
All right.
Yeah, if they were going to
That's
stick
your
with
VR
sure.
franchise, if I ever saw one. Because
Yeah.
honestly,
I
that game is a
don't
lot
agree
of
with
fun.
it. I don't agree with it, but whatever. You guys can have it.
That's because
MLB
you haven't
The
played
Show.
it. Shut up.
How dare you? You don't know what I've played.
you played
and not.
it?
You're right. No, but you don't know that.
There you go. Shut up.
MLB The Show.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, keep that going.
And now,
I
and
think
now,
that
and
it's
now that
making.
it's on now that it's on multiple consoles, it's getting even better.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that play it are really mad about it, but guys, it's a sports game and they're meant to be predatory now. Like until we fix this part of the industry, it's going to be like that. Just deal with it.
Returnal.
No, but that's not because I don't think it'll work. It's because Housemarque just doesn't do that.
Okay.
They always do something different.
Yeah, I don't know how you take the Returnal game and like make it into a franchise.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool
Yeah,
one-off
no,
story. But
I think you just call it the Housemarque franchise, and that's really what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Last of Us, we've talked tons of times about how many different things you can do with Last of Us.
Can I say
Yeah.
no because I don't care about it?
You can, but you're gonna ignore you. So.
Yeah, we're gonna ignore you and immediately give that a check mark.
It's you could try and stop the tide, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's coming.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes. Oh my god, I want to replay that game so bad. Let alone I want a second one.
If they're willing to like cut the map in half, sure.
The map wasn't even that big.
You guys are such goddamn suckers for that stuff. It is way too big.
It is not that big, Chris. Tell me it's not that big.
You are goddamn sheep if you think it's fine.
First of all, Adam, size doesn't matter, and how dare you?
Thank you.
Second of all,
I literally quit the game because as soon as they opened up the map a second time, I went, guys, fuck off. This map is too big.
I platinumed it, so I'm.
Yeah, me too. Right?
I'm in. Unfortunately, and when I say unfortunately, I'm not.
I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed with staying alive, but goddamn, just open world games. Holy shit! Stop with the oversized maps.
I mean, like Yakuza has a massive map just filled with everything, don't they? Like,
no, you shut your goddamn mouth about Yakuza. You don't know a damn thing.
I don't, Chris. Back me up on this. Does Yakuza have a massive map or a bloated map?
It does not have a massive map.
No, it's just one city, but like only a few city blocks,
and it's full of stuff to do in there. Like it's very rare to have a part of that map that doesn't have anything going on.
Yeah.
No,
but
you're wrong about Ghost of Tsushima.
Like it's an island in Ghost of Tsushima.
You can't just complain about it until you tried it, Kaylan.
What are you gonna have? Like you go up to the other part of the island and there's an invisible wall? That's not historically accurate, Adam. You can't do that.
Well,
yeah,
how many subscribers?
Right up there with like
Kaylan, how many subscribers do we got to get to before you actually will play Yakuza 0 to try it?
We'll make a Patreon and we'll have a Patreon stretch goal that I'll play the Yakuza. We'll make stretch goals
because we're never going to get the subscribers to justify a Patreon. You got it.
It's so easy, Adam. You have to platinum Ghost of Tsushima. Kaylan, you got to play Yakuza 0. First one to quit before the other one loses, and there's a prize.
To be fair, I have turned on a Yakuza game. I just played it halfway through, and I'm like, wait, this is in Japanese, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing this.
Okay, well, if you get through, you win the prize. If Adam gets through, he gets the prize, and it's not like a speed thing. The problem is,
even if we did this competition, I'm not going to win. We've seen how long it takes me to play a game.
No. It can take as long as needed. Like it's not like it has to be done in a week or something. That wouldn't be fair. It's just whoever quits first. Like I am not playing this. I hate it.
I'd still win.
Oh, 100%.
You're just you're lucky I didn't tell Kaylan to play Kingdom Hearts because you would have won instantly.
Oh, I'm not playing Kingdom Hearts at all.
And we throw them in at like Kingdom Hearts 2.
The fans don't even know what's going on. I'm not coming in there half cocked being like, oh, what's all this? That's like waking up in the third act of Inception. You have no idea what the hell's going on.
The third.
You got guys from Final Fantasy fighting Goofy and they're riding a roller coaster. Like, what the hell's going on here?
That sounds.
See, you're talking my shit right here.
Yeah, that is so delightful. I'm so in. Like,
guys, I'm gonna be honest. One of these things is not like the other on this podcast, and it shows sometimes.
I know. I'm the only one with good opinions.
Oh my god. Okay. I'm putting Ghost of Tsushima.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Doing my super scientific. Oh, we forgot Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot? No, not in this day and age.
No, because Xbox I think has it now.
Yeah, Xbox owns
Perfect.
it technically.
Cool.
I think Xbox should do a lot with it and just like make fun of Sony in the games. Yeah, just to rub it in.
Okay, so we had a list of 37 IP.
Can I add one that we missed?
Going through what?
We missed one?
Because it's a very easy game to make, and you could just make it very easy with mobile devices. They should just make buzz games on the fly for trivia buffs. Like that's such an easy game to make.
Oh, the trivia ones they had?
Yeah. That is the easiest fucking layup in the world. Especially now with Jackbox games being popular, except for the new Naughty one, which is fucking terrible. That's a whole other conversation. But like, holy fuck. Like that is a layup of like a cheap game you can make that requires almost no effort.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So I agree with that. So we'll give it there. So of the 38 IP that we talked about, we concluded that, in our opinion, 24 and a half of them are viable IP.
What was the half?
Ape Escape. We were kind of
right.
whether or not Ape Escape.
Yeah.
I still say no, but it was kind of like wishy-washy across the board, so I gave it half.
It'd be a great game if they just released that on the Dreamcast.
We've already talked about this, Chris. We're not going back to this conversation.
I'm just going through because I made my own list just to make sure. So the only two that I think we missed otherwise, Legend of Dragoon, which I know Chris will say yes to because JRPGs
Immediate
are awesome.
yes. Yep. Immediate.
And a Warhawk, which was like a, I believe it was like a like flight combat game.
Flight combat, yeah.
Which
I mean, there was a
would-
couple games that like I ignored. Sorry, like there's other
Yeah.
ones too. Like we could have done like Lair, but no one's going to bat for Lair.
Yeah,
That was the number one game I was
between
looking
the ones
for.
I could think of, Legend of Dragoon, I think me and Chris would both say yes to, and then like Warhawk, I think is other people could do that.
All right. Well, we just concluded there are a ton of IP. Sony doesn't have a lack of IP. Sony has a lack of effort to support them. So like, get on it, Sony. Get some developers and make some games. You screwed up with Concord. Go back to the drawing board and just go back to the well and get something there and build that.
Hey guys, here's an
Let go
idea.
this live service thing.
Stop making massive, like stupid high budget games that take 8 years to make. Here's an idea. Have all these teams split, make a couple of smaller games, and make some fucking money because your goddamn subscription service needs them.
Not the way that they're pulling games. But anyways, that'll be it for this week of the PixelPlay Podcast. If you like that, you want to hear more, we do a podcast every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If that's not enough, we also do a little bit of bonus content throughout the week. Check us out on youtube.com. Like and subscribe there. And yeah, we do a little side quest this week. We're going to a little activity I've got for the other guys here. So watch out for that if you guys want to be part of it. And leave a comment below. Which IP do you think Sony has neglected the most and should kind of support and bring back to life? We'd love to hear your opinions there. And if you don't want to go on, if you're not listening to YouTube, just come into Discord and tell us what game franchises you think need to be revived. We'd love to hear from you there. Otherwise, see you guys next week. Bye for now.